Welcome to the Occult Rejects. This episode, we got a bunch of us here tonight, and we got a special guest joining us. Couldn't be happier to have Ani with us again. If you have not seen him before, he has been on the show in the past, and I definitely suggest to go back and check that episode out. Guys were cooking with gas. Yeah, I guess, and if I guess we'll just start with Ani now too. As before we introduce everybody, Ani, what is going on, sir? And please let everybody know what is up and where they can find all your amazing.
What's happening? It's great to be back on the Occult Rejects, man. I had a blast last time. My audience really enjoyed what we did last time, and I think this one should be packed with even more information. You guys can follow me at Ani Osaru on YouTube. I also own the Spiritual Shade Room on Instagram, and most of my content is on patreon.com/THE_Spiritual Shade Room, the true occult newspaper.
That's what's up. Thank you very much, man, and I really appreciate you joining us. And I know you have a lot of knowledge on this subject, so I really appreciate you helping us out here. And then we got my man Jules. What is going on, sir? How are you, bud? It's been a minute.
Yeah, man. What's going on, everybody? Nick, Ani, Ethan, Robbie, Headless. It's good to see you guys. I hope y'all had a good week. What's going on to everyone in the chat? Good to see everyone. I'm Jules, host of the Gray Pill podcast, the Mississippi Mystic. If you've been here before, then you probably know who I am. So, yeah, man, ready to get into it. I haven't seen this movie since I was a kid, so I had to do some homework and catch up, but it's definitely worth it. We watched it on Discord a couple nights ago. But,
nice.
Yeah, if y'all want to follow me, y'all can go to Twitter at GrayPilledPod, GrayPilled_podcast on Instagram, and go subscribe to my Patreon. We got a bunch of good shit popping over there. Esoteric book review in the morning. The hierarchies of elves, fauns, and fae. So should be a fun book for the whole family. But yeah, happy to be here. Happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here, sir. Thank you very much for making it, Jules. And my man Ethan Indigo. What is going on, sir? Glad to have you.
Peace, honored to be here with everybody. Appreciate you, Nick, putting this together. I'm excited for this. It's got so much interesting symbology to explore. I'm easy to find on all the social media. I'm a writer frequently and observer of our modern times. Easy to find online, and I appreciate communication. Appreciate you guys.
So definitely check out Ethan Indigo. He's got tons of books, so definitely go check those out. And we got the man himself, the storyteller, Robbie Marks. What is going on, man? Thank you very much for making it tonight.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Yeah, thanks for having me on, Nick, everybody. It's good to see you all. It's good to meet you, Ani. And yeah, if anybody wants to check out my stuff, you can check out my Linktree, which is Linktree RMARX, and that has my art, my miscellaneous podcast, the Meta Mindcast, as well as all my social media, etc., etc. But yeah, this is going to be a fun one. This book initially I saw this movie as a child, and then when I was in my mid-teens, I picked up the book, and I was reading Carlos Castaneda, and I was getting into a lot of this mysticism, and this has always been, in my 35 years of heavy reading, it's been one of my favorite books. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And I appreciate you joining us, man, because, again, you even have a bunch of stuff that I don't know about that you can bring to the table with this, and I appreciate you coming. Then last but not least, my boy Headless Giant. What is going on, sir? How are you?
How you doing? I love the topic. You can find me on YouTube and on X. You can send me any sort of strange experiences you've had, especially with voodoo, to headlessgiantpodcast@gmail.com, and we read those on Thursdays. I've also got Alchemy Mondays, so check out that show as well. And I've got another show coming up with Nick, all about 777. So if you know that book and you know how dense it is, it's going to be taking a while. It's going to be a lot of fun. And also on Sunday, I've got the trialogues with Ethan and Ricardo. So definitely come check that out. We're cooking with gas on those shows. Thank you.
Definitely check out the trialogue and send in those emails. And for sure, we're going to start covering 777 next week. Should be very interesting. I'm hoping maybe, depending, we might be able to at least get up to the gematria or at least get into gematria. It's like a couple of pages, I think, for an introduction. But I think the gematria chapter in the beginning is so fucking important. So really looking forward to that. And did you even notice, Headless? They're already catching heat on Twitter from that fucking tweet. People literally tag somebody on there to like fucking. I'm like, really? Like, oh,
once you say Crowley on there and you show that book off, people just go nuts. They have no idea what's in it.
Circumcision.
Yeah, but yeah, but yeah, and thank you everybody for making it on tonight. I think for now, just to let the listeners know. Obviously, it's the Serpent in the Rainbow that we're covering. I didn't say that in the beginning, but I mean, everybody else already mentioned it. I got like a page of notes that I'm just going to read. That's kind of some basic background stuff about the movie. And then I would like to go into the actual Serpent in the Rainbow symbolism, which Ani knows a lot about. And then after that, if anybody of us wanted to talk about any rainbows and serpent symbolism, otherwise we can. And then we will move into the actual story behind the movie with Robbie and Ani, and then we'll get into the movie after that. So that's kind of the structure I'm shooting for. So, yeah. But all right. So I will get it started. Serpent in the Rainbow. In case people don't know, The Serpent in the Rainbow. It's a movie from Wes Craven, and it's a horror thriller loosely based on Wade Davis's real life research in Haiti. Davis investigated Haitian voodoo and claims of zombification, notably the case of I can't pronounce this guy's name, but there's a guy who was buried alive and later revived. In his 1985 book, The Serpent in the Rainbow, Davis describes how he found tetrodotoxin, if I'm saying that correctly, a pufferfish, poison, and psychoactive plants in traditional zombie powders, and argued that a combination of toxin, hallucinogen like datura, and cultural belief could induce a death-like coma. The film was made with Davis's cooperation. He even served as a technical advisor on set, but Craven took considerable dramatic license. Usually for a horror film, it's unusual for a horror film, but this one supposedly was shot on real locations. Universal hired Haitian crews and local extras in Haiti for it, and even did film some parts in Boston, which you kind of see that at the beginning. You'll see that in Boston. Wade Davis himself traveled with the crew and advised on Haitian settings. What else? The movie was shot also in the Caribbean. The crew began in Haiti, but as it's been said, local government informed the cast and crew that they could not guarantee their safety anymore because of political strife. So the production was then moved to Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic to finish filming. Some just interesting things with the production. Shooting in Haiti, again, proved to be difficult. Craven's crew suffered from contaminated food and water, and even film equipment was damaged by sewage leaks on location. They also had to hire a local militia at one point for protection. There was a journalist, too, who later reported after the fact that the first night in Haiti, the crew was blessed in a real deal ceremony by voodoo priests in a ritual which some said was done for protection. Despite these precautions, and I tried to look up any more information on this. I mean, who knows if it's true or not. This is all I could find. Despite the precautions, though, despite all that, the troubleshoot still saw at least, supposedly they think one person got possessed on set. And there was even a small riot among onlookers during the movie at one point, which they do chalk up to like wondering if that had anything to do with this stuff. But
it's like one of those cursed movies or something.
Yeah. But that was just like some of the basics. That's again, like it was one page of notes. So I just wanted to read that off and kind of get that off. But yeah, so yeah, I guess, and then the whole thing with, again, I would like to get Ani, if you don't mind, the whole Serpent in the Rainbow. I find that to be very deeply occulted, just in general. That stuff. I mean, I talk about seeing rainbow styled stuff when I have my experiences, and just, the serpent is just such a deeply occulted symbol.
I've seen some sort of rainbow aura on psilocybin.
Yeah.
So,
but Ani, if you don't mind, if you could take it away on that one.
There's a kaleidoscope of colors. These colors are like the waveforms of the quanta It's a refraction of the quanta of the spirit and light, and voodoo is all about evoking the spirit. Voodoo literally means spirit of God. A lot of people associate voodoo with something satanic. There is a dark side or underworld to a lot of things, and a lot of spiritual systems, especially with African spiritual systems, they strip the underworld away for specific reasons because of the power and the ability behind that type of magic and spirituality. Voodoo is something that kept the underworld very much intact. And looking at the movie, I didn't get to watch this movie when I was a child like you guys. I actually watched it this morning because it was a misinterpretation that I was talking about the Serpent in the Sky, John Anthony West. But I went back and followed Nick's email, and it said The Serpent and the Rainbow. I said, hold on, let me look up this book and movie. And I said, oh, I need to watch this real quick before I'm unprepared for today. And when I watched it, I was blown away because I do research into this a lot. And I know a lot about different spiritual systems, indigenous spiritual systems. So watching it, I'm very much aware of the Mambo and the Bokar, basically the white magician in voodoo and the black magician in voodoo. And there's other things in Ifa, which is more like Nigerian, West African magic. And there's other things pertaining here in America to hoodooism. But it's very different systems. Every system is very, very different. And watching this movie, I can almost do a full week breaking this stuff down. I saw a lot of astrology. The Bokar was representative of a lot of Saturn, restricting Dennis, the Bill Puller, I think that's
Pullman.
Bill Pullman.
Pullman.
Yeah.
Bill Pullman. He was representative of Mercury.
For sure. I thought that. Yeah, he was
Mercury. He was Mercury.
Totally.
Yeah, he was traveling, and he remember he tricked one of the guy who made the zombie dust. He tricked him.
Yeah, he's a trickster.
Yeah, but it was Mercury, and the woman, the doctor, the Haitian doctor, was Venus because she was possessed with Urzuli, which is a very powerful Vodou deity in the system, almost equivalent. They said it was equivalent to the Virgin Mary, but it's equivalent to Yemenya or Oshun in the Ifa system, and they very highly regard this goddess. I also saw remnants of Satisa Muete, La Satisa Muete for Santeria, when you saw the wedded corpse that they extracted the first zombie toxin from. That was Santisa Muete, but that really saved his ass. We got to get into that later on, because if she hadn't been a powerful witch, and if he hadn't captured her soul, she wouldn't have sought vengeance on the Bokar to help him out in the end, which was very beneficial to Bill Pullman's character in the movie.
Well, and interesting, you were saying in regard to Saturn, when they get within the book, when they get into the temple structure, they go in at one point, and hanging on the wall from two chains is a black cube that's part of the inner like ritual system. So the black cube and Saturn directly link there. It gets into a lot of definitely a lot of astrological, a lot of earth medicine, and just the links between Haiti and Africa, as far as carrying over some of that mystical, the aspect, and bringing it into the judgment factor of basically garnering the society through the aspect of this inherent threat of zombieism.
Yeah, because I also looked at it. There's a lot of things pertaining in this movie to MK Ultra, or how to create a moonchild surrogate, because I'm big in understanding what Crawley was getting at with this moonchild thing. This moonchild thing is beyond what Jack Parsons was doing with Marjorie Cameron, trying to birth the satanic seed, because we understand that in the Gnostic text, there is portions of shards of souls down here that are remnants of the demiurge or the counterfeit spirit in the Nag Hammadi library. But these are some of the people that's using this dark system of magic, like you see this Bakor do in this movie. They're working for a side of the polarity for certain reasons for the Matrix to keep the Matrix and the energy here be extracted by these other entities. And I felt like he was working for that side. They got Damballa is representative of the serpent. The Damballa is the serpent god in Hoodoo, and high reverence to Damballa, invoking him. It's a form of the Kundalini energy. And the Kundalini energy is high charge implosive physics inside of the body, is pertaining to cold fusion. Even when they say you catch the Holy Ghost, you feel that chill or that presence over you, is that same Vodal Damballa serpent extraction of energy, that charge implodes within you when you reach the Samadhi, the Sahasrara crown chakra. That energy has to move up like the Tower of Babylon. It has to reach up here.
Yeah,
and it absolves everything.
That's where the serpent reaches the rainbows, right there at that point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man. Well put.
Yes,
Yeah.
And the Damballa, is that also considered to be associated with creation or something like that? Maybe.
Yes. Quetzalcoatl. You got another serpent god. Yeah, because on my
it's
Kukulkan. That's actually, honestly, that's where the KKK get their KKK.
Right.
You hear the Grand Dragon.
Yeah.
They get
Cyclops.
that from
Yeah, man. All those South American serpent deities. I think he got Itzamana, I think, is another one. Kukulkan, Quetzalcoatl, and his wife. Forgot her
George
name.
Washington.
Yeah.
No,
Have you ever seen Washington's family crest? It's a 13 in Mayan numerals.
Right.
No shit.
So
Right?
really?
yeah,
it is.
he's
yeah.
Okay.
So his family is
Well,
deeply
you may be
connected
onto
with
something
the
there.
Canaanite Phoenicians. Yeah.
Death and rebirth.
Would make sense. Yeah. Well, he's at the top of the,
Capitol Dome.
Apotheosis.
hanging out.
Apotheosized. Yeah. Well, now what I think is interesting is when you get into this whole idea of the zombie or the zombie. There's different pronunciations. It's argued, but nonetheless, there's the physical zombie, and then there's the astral zombie. And it's this Bukar that you have that basically is the one that will work to capture, like when they pull them out of the grave, they generally have a tendency to beat them, put them. So we're getting into trauma-based mind control. They're putting them under this highly hallucinogenic. They literally, while they're being zombified, they can sense and see and feel everything that's going on around them. They're just in a state of paralytic.
Like sleep paralysis. Yeah.
But this can happen with, like in Japan, they say that the puffer fish it's the line between eating food and taking drugs, because the potential of slipping into this state. But nonetheless, they would bury you, and then depending on the amount of time you're in the coffin before you start to get hit with oxygen deprivation, they would pull you up and then beat you, which more trauma, and then they would take you and they would feed you. After that, they would take this zombie cucumber, and that has datura in it, and basically mix that up and keep you in a dream-like state. Whereas then they would capture the astral zombie and encase it in a jar, like Solomon with his miscellaneous demonic forces he was summoning up.
The signet
Big time
ring.
Martinism. Big time Martinism influence on voodoo as well. So you've got all these keys of Solomon.
French.
I put a
Yeah.
I put a clip of the In Search Of episode with Leonard Nimoy where they actually sent a camera team over to Haiti in the 1970s to film these rituals. And so you can see when he's drawing out the symbols on the ground, that's where they have to put the drums so that they can connect to the spirits, right? So
Right.
all of this stuff about these sigils on the floor, I think that's a big crossover between Martinism and voodoo, and we see a lot of voodoo initiates also being Martinists, which is also very much a Freemasonic
French
order.
Masonic, yeah. Well, and you have the interaction here in the play between the French colony and the surviving class that overthrew and basically took the nation state on themselves.
And this is
Well, this is also.
I'm sorry.
I was going to bring up Columbus and Hispaniola, right? So this is the very first spot, supposedly, where European contact is. And this is where they have the voodoo rituals and the Martinism and all the rest of this old world occult stuff now mixing in with New World civilization.
And Haiti is a very magical charged island. They don't know that there's this rare asteroid beneath Haiti that they get the substance mineral called iridium,
right?
Which is almost like the vibranium in Black Panther or some shit. What I heard is a very, very resourceful material, and it's rare, and it's primarily in Haiti, and they began extracting that from out of there. So there's a reason why they stated it's one of the most porous countries in the world, because it's like we got to suppress this magical energy over there, because it's like a piece of Atlantis probably up under these people, these indigenous people over there. And not only that, there's this resource that we need to go in and get that and make materials out of it.
And that's why it's preoccupied by our some of our government, right? It has been in the past.
Oh yeah, well,
the child trafficking rings and all.
Well, yeah, the thing about Clinton, her daughter used to go. Clinton's daughter Chelsea used to go to Haiti and used to go to another African, East African female tribe where they sever the clitoris. Yeah, this is some secret stuff, and they used to send her there every summer, I heard, to learn the mysteries of the mambos, the witches over there. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Robbie.
So get this, Ani. Guess what iridium is named after?
Good.
Iris, the Greek goddess of the rainbow.
Interesting. It's I've got the full legend of the rainbow and the serpent here.
Please. Go into that.
If you want me to, I can read it. It says, in the beginning, it is said there was only the great serpent whose 7,000 coils lay beneath the earth, holding it in place that it might not fall into the abysmal sea. In time, the serpent began to move, unleashing its undulating flesh, which rose slowly into the great spiral that enveloped the universe. In the heavens, it released stars and all that the celestial bodies on earth, and it brought forth creation, winding its way through the molten slopes to carve rivers, which like veins became the channels through which flowed the essence of all life. In the searing heat, it forged metals, the rising against the sky. It cast lightning bolts to the earth and gave birth to the sacred stones. Then it lay along the path of the sun and partook of its nature. With its layered skin, the serpent retained the spring of eternal life, and from the zenith, it let go the waters that filled the rivers upon which the people would nurse. As the water struck the earth, the rainbow rose, and the serpent took her as his wife. Their love entwined them in a cosmic helix that arched across the heavens. In time, their fusion gave birth to the spirit that animates blood. Women learned to filter this divine substance through their breasts to produce milk, just as men passed it through their testes to create semen. The serpent and the rainbow instruct women to remember these blessings once each month, and they taught men to dam the flow so that the belly might swell and bring forth new life. Then, as a final gift, they taught the people to partake of the blood as a sacrament, that they might become the spirit and embrace the wisdom of the serpent.
You know what's crazy about that? It's real Lovecraftian because there's like Naga gates around the planet. Like the Japanese call it the Mapo Ruigan, where there's the undulations of the telluric energy, the chthonic energy that's up under the planet really influences the consciousness and the subconsciousness of each continent. So they tapped into these things, and when you were describing that, the coiling is describing a centripetal consciousness, almost to speak of Gaia, and is comparative to the Titans in the Greek mythology that were buried under Tartarus. That serpentine energy was called Typhon, which was the most powerful monster. All the fucking gods, they say when it's Typhon, they had like a bunch of
Osiris.
Yeah, they didn't want to fuck with it.
Typhon.
They want to fuck with this Typhon, and then there's Typhon when it rises up. Have you guys seen the new Blood of Zeus series?
A little bit, couple.
You watch that shit, man. Typhon is badass in that series.
Is that Titanomachy again?
It's the title, man. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was really interesting because in the movie they show that waterfall, right? That waterfall scene. That's the real waterfall where they said that the serpent and the rainbow come together in Haiti. So that's like one of the holiest sites in all of Haiti, and they're filming it right there in that movie. So it's really interesting.
That's dope.
Well, and also that it, you know, when the serpent met the rainbow, they essentially intertwined with one another, creating that divine helix that is manifest creation of life itself.
The DNA.
Exactly. With the light, the rainbow light, and the serpent energy, the serpentine, you know, from Kundalini to the animating force, you know, kind of all,
it kind of reminds me of, you know, I don't know if you know about the Bifrost and all the Norse realm, you know, the Rainbow Bridge that
Jormungandr.
And then you have Yggdrasil, right, wrapped up. And I just had Stein on last Saturday, maybe 2 Saturdays. It was last Saturday for a banger episode, guys. Go check that out if you haven't. He talked about the Aesir, the Vanir, the 9 realms. You know, he is a Nordic pagan, so you know,
nice.
so I don't know. Kind of.
Did he talk about Jormungandr, the serpent that wraps?
Oh yeah, at the very bottom, and and something about that Robbie just said. Each of these realms, you know, each there's the 3, and then each hold 3, and each one has a well in it that kind of, you know, you were talking about the water, the spiritual water that powers these certain realms, and yeah, I don't know. It's
plasma. It's plasma, baby.
I just see some similarities.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you think about the water spray, it's full of electrolyzed plasma, and that's what's creating that rainbow effect. So there's a real tie there. I was going to bring up the Iris, which is the goddess of the rainbow. She's considered to be a heavenly messenger, right? And so this heavenly messenger is bringing all of these different messages from the immortal realm. This is where we get our term epiphany. Epiphany means the divine appearance of these gods. So we think of it as like just an idea that pops into your head or whatever, but it was exalted as like theophany or epiphany, which is the divine appearance of these different gods and goddesses. And what you see with these voodoo ceremonies is that's the appearance of these gods and goddesses through the practitioners of these ceremonies.
Wow, that's great research there.
So now during the uprising in Haiti against the French, there was a case where there was a manifestation of a divine mother that came in as a white, blue, burning light. and she was on top of the palm tree, and the French troops started shooting at it, and it would jump from tree to tree, and Napoleon ended up ordering that all the palm trees be cut down because of this event. And you just see these successive things popping up where they try to stop this, but you got to figure these people that they were bringing in from Africa, they were astute, learned in a lot of cases from the Arabs, and they knew math, and they were of war cultures, and they had this sacred, ancient, spirit magic of the plants, and it was one of the workers in one of the sugar mills where they were crushing the cane. He got his arm caught in it, and they were talking about the blood mixed with the sugarcane water, just as a analogous to the African blood mixing with the French blood, and and essentially he had to cut his arm off, and all the locals said that he was like immortal and of the gods, and because he couldn't work in the fields anymore, they made him a shepherd in the hills. So he was going up into the hills, and this is where all of the rebel slaves would basically run. So there's like tens of thousands of runaways, which they called maroon. The French called the Maroons. And essentially this guy, they said he went up in the hills and he learned the old magic from like listening to the ancestors and finding new plants to substitute the old plants. And that he basically went to the caves and learned from the old ones that quote unquote made the earth shudder. So this was the beginning of the Voodoo tradition in the creation of these systems in order to basically regulate almost on a guerrilla warfare style mechanism to go against what the Spanish had done to them, what the French were doing to them. Even it was Rochambeau who ended up helping George Washington in the Revolutionary War. Before he came to America, he stopped in Haiti to try to put down this uprising, and basically just atrocities. I mean, atrocities. Just some of the stuff that they were doing to these individuals. It's a horror show. So
they got a form of the berserker, the Nordic berserker. What do you call it? Something with the berserker mind or frenzy that they go in.
Frenzy, yeah.
Yeah, they got a similar form of that. And that's the thing about it. Like, there's a lot of intricacy. You talk about the Maroons. They were the rebels.
Right.
Even over here, we have Maroons in America, in the Great Dismal Swamp here. And they knew a lot of mysteries of the plants and talking to. That's why High John the Conqueror root became the central hoodoo plant over here. And they said the ancestors was literally, they could hear them in the cotton fields. Not only that, George Washington Carver, he said he could speak to plants. Do you know the reason why we call like factories plants is because of George Washington Carver could speak to plants? The Peanut Man. He could hear the plants, and he was working for Ford, and he provided a new type of fuel that was called something with chem. I can't remember the term for it. You guys can look it up. But he created this new, but it's based off plants. It was a brand new fuel substance based on plants that Ford was going to use. But something happened with that, but they started to call those factories when it was produced the fuels after the plants.
Right. It was initially hemp that Ford was developing to run on hemp oil, and it was an adjustable spark and flow, and it could literally burn like heavy hemp oil, or it could burn like high octane like moonshine. So it would literally, but you just adjust the airflow and the spark, and you could,
That's
and
why
then,
they got rid of the alcohol too, by the way.
Right, but as far as the moonshine, yeah. But then it was when Rockefeller basically was dumping all the volatiles off the top of the whale oil in the rivers, and the rivers were lighting on fire, that they had to do something with this byproduct. This is before the the Environmental Protection Agency. But nonetheless, the Rockefellers and Ford got together, and this merger basically created the current fuel industry that we're under now. That's just a byproduct that they would have to pay to dispose of otherwise. Yeah.
Well, we're talking about the spirits and the plants. I mean, and this movie revolves around this idea of shamanic experiences, right? And so he's started out with this shamanic experience down in the Amazon,
South
and
America.
all of that comes from talking to these spirits of the plant. And basically, in the uprising, they had these type of zombies, I guess you could call them, men in chains, could take down 3 or 4 dudes with rifles, and these are not small rounds that they're being fired at. Like they're equivalent to like the size of 50 caliber rounds today. Like they had to stop using those big old slugs because it would just maim the hell out of people once you got hit by them, and they wanted to go for more of a wound instead of a maim. And so these are huge, rounds that are being fired at them, and they don't stop. They don't stop fighting until they run out of blood. So these people are, this is what the French are saying, and who knows, they might be exaggerating because it was, them who fled the island from all of these voodoo priests that were putting spells on people and causing them to be like Supermen. So you've got this aspect there of like, superhuman abilities being granted to people, or maybe they're being ridden by some of these Loa as they're fighting in battle. So there is that aspect of the berserker as well. So you've got, the berserker. These are the Norsemen who are overcome by the spirit of the bear as they go into battle, and they're just ripping people apart, So there's a heavy aspect of being ridden by these spirits and performance in battle as well, which makes me think of Blackbeard, because Blackbeard was supposedly shot too with a whole bunch of these rounds, and he doesn't go down until he runs out of blood completely. So I think there's a lot of this stuff being practiced all over the New World, and we get the flavor of it from the Haitian Revolution, but I think there are other times that they're using it too, like you were talking about with the KKK too, Knights of the Golden Circle.
Golden Circle. I was going to bring them up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These were people who were trying to absorb as much of this magical information as possible all around the area. So.
Well, and they were out of Cuba specifically, and they had this golden circle that encompassed part of South America and part of North America, that they thought that slavery should subside within this region. So when you get those early ties with the KKK, and Albert Pike, which Albert Pike's statue in Washington, D.C., they just put back up just like a couple weeks ago.
Yep. That one can't stay down for long, can it?
No. It's the 33-degree Scottish Rite, Red Lodge.
Judiciary Square, right? Mm-hmm. That's like one of the, Judiciary Squares where everything is supposed to be decided. This is the Canaanite Phoenician judge that is supposed to be presiding over the rest of the world. So,
well, speaking of Freemasonry and the secret societies in the movie, the actual there's literal Haitian or voodoo or magical secret societies when it comes to these people, and the people that they were referring to were called the Bazango, and or the Sampwell Society. And from what I understand, that they were like a night guard. So when you were saying with the zombification, they would punish certain people in the community that were acting out, and they would make a vote at night. They had these soldiers. What was the name of the soldiers? They called it the Night Ritual Trial, the Rassemble Nu Inuit. These members were barefoot, and they wore these masks called Shaloska mask, and they emphasized this ruthless law over the citizens there with spiritual terror. So what they would do, if you act out, they will vote whether you would become a zombie or you would just get whipped or some shit like that. And the Bazango pretty much controlled all of the rural areas for a long period of time, and people were terrified of them. That's who the Bakar is in the Rainbow and the Serpent in the Rainbow. They're reenacting who the Bazango is in Haiti. And these this particular secret society held mysteries about these 5-MeO psychedelic plants, and they merged the magic, they merged the science of biophysiology, taking bone, grinded up bones and mixing
tibias
it
and skulls.
And skulls. So it's very important in skull because there's resin in the skull from the brain. That's
and it
very
had to be
important,
buried.
that resin.
Yeah, it had to be buried for at least 3 months before they would dig it up to grind it up to put it in.
Number 3.
There you go. And that resin comes to medulla oblongata. That's why in the Egyptian stela, I was doing a lecture the other day when they show Harpocrates, the god of silence, standing on the stela, and they had Bes right behind him, the big beast. This is where the beast comes from. And when they say Satan, get behind you, they're talking about the medulla.
Pontus Cacodaimenos.
And then the medulla oblongata is the Satan because it produces this black resin. It excretes from your brain and is in the back. And this is why the collective, a lot of the portion of the consciousness when they're studying the brain comes from there to the amygdala, to the hippocampus, down into the pineal. And that's the resin that you see in skulls when they begin to decay and everything. That's that medulla oblongata producing that black resin substance. So they grind that up, and like what Robbie says, they create this psychic double, and they enslave the psychic double. It's a form of the moon child, and they put it in these vases, the mason jars, and they're collecting these psychic doubles of people. And they're terrified because it's very important that you bury the person because they have to believe that they died. So if you bury them and they can't yell, they can't scream, but they can feel everything. So their eyes is open, they bury the guy and put him under. Then when they actually dig you up and you wake up, you feel like you're enslaved to the Bakar because you lost your soul in the whole portion of the ritual. Go ahead.
The astral zombie.
Right, but the person that they were actually using in that movie as the zombie, right? He stays in the graveyard. And what's really interesting about that is the actual zombies that they've interviewed before stay in the graveyard. They don't want to leave, right? They think they belong there. They think they're dead. So even as they're walking around, they're like, no, I'm dead. So I think there is something to the idea that maybe there's a bodily spirit that hasn't left the body, but maybe the mind and the soul are just gone out of that person after this ritual. And that's what they're taking in, sort of like Shang Tsung collecting all these souls,
Right. Well, and that's what they would do is initially upon digging them up, they would put them into a state of trauma and then give them this zombie cucumber mixed with other stuff. Just it gets into lizards and toads and all kinds of these sea worms, but nonetheless, and then they would basically haul you away to a plantation as a worker, and they would keep you under the influence of this zombie cucumber so that you wouldn't remember, or you were lost in this dreamscape basically. And then they would go back years later, and the case of the main character that you're talking about in the movie, The Serpent and the Rainbow, I forgot his name, but he had a land dispute with his brother and tried to take the land by force. So they call it getting sold to be a zombie. And you would go to this court, and it's very Masonic, and they would have these flag queens and different positions, and you would be judged in accordance with the ethics of the tribe. And essentially you had different portion of the islands that had different groups of these secret societies, but nonetheless they would basically and if you were found innocent, then they would take the person that sold you into it, they'd make him a zombie because he was in the wrong. So this was a equatorial system to balance society itself.
So Headless had mentioned the removal of the soul or something. Do they put something in place of that soul in order to control the person? Like some kind of tulpa
I
or
don't think they can
something?
take the soul. I think it's a play on some astral abstract form of yourself, because the soul, I don't think you can, when you're talking in that territory, from what I understand, you can't really capture something like that. You know, it's like a microcosm of a macrocosm. I think they're enslaving the astral ego of what the person may identify themselves as in this world.
So their consciousness.
It's pretty much an astral etherical download. Like you have a file on a computer, like you download, so they're making a copy of you, and they're downloading your ego on this copy, and they're putting it in that mason jar and keeping that there.
It could be like the Ba and the Ka, you know, from Egyptian mythology. You've got the separation of.
There you go.
So
there you go.
Yeah, they're taking the separate part.
Right, but then they would take these astral zombies that they kept in the jars, and they could perform, you know, sympathetic magic with those energies to basically get the physical zombie to perform certain tasks and do certain messenger type or, you know, chaos type, trickster type, you know.
In the movie, they even depict that, I think, in a few ways with when that guy starts clicking on the glass and he makes that other guy start spazzing out.
Mm-hmm.
When they blow that shit in that girl's face, and then all of a sudden she's okay with dancing.
Changed. Now, the girl that's in the movie going back to the book, but the girl that's represented in the movie, she's actually 16 years old when he meets her. And through this course of this voodoo ritual, she does this spinning, and then and when she gets the spirit that's riding her, and this other spirit takes and throws her while she's spinning into the fire, and she like writhes around in the fire, and then she reins up and throws coals everywhere, and basically takes a coal and is like looking at it and blowing on it and puts it in her mouth, and then starts spinning around for another couple minutes with this hot burning coal in her mouth, you know. So, and she says that, you know, this certain spirit that had come to ride her was impervious to fire, therefore she couldn't.
That's the Rada. They're called the Rada spirits. You got the Petwa and you got Rada. The Rada spirits are more force, and you're able like to chew on the glass. Yeah, they're angry. So
that's what the Boston attack was. That was one of the Rada spirits that was inhabiting that woman in the Boston scene, where she's coming at the guy and ready to kill him. Is it was instructed to do. That's why she takes the bite of the glass.
So she had a red dress on too.
But now that girl, the girl that's depicted within the movie that's doing the voodoo dance and getting mounted by the spirit, that's 16 years old, she's actually from Boston, and she was brought there by her father, who got involved in the politics, and she just took to the culture and became one of the queens. So
see, Boston was doing a lot of funny stuff. That's where Prince Hall actually comes from.
Right.
Black man, he comes from over there, and they brought him. I think it was George Washington's slave, but he got his freedom bought. So it's kind of funny with the Prince Hall and starting those Masonic organizations in the Black community. It has something remnant from traditions of this, and I'm even looking forward to say that some of the MK Ultra that you see with these celebrities, you've mentioned to you guys, there's a drug called Flocka that was in Florida. They call it like zombie drug. It was an epidemic of it, like in 2018, something like that. So these people eating other people's faces off in Florida. Right. So I'm thinking just like scopolamine or these
scopolamine.
Yeah.
And that comes
up, said that earlier.
That comes up in the actual academic stuff with this situation.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
There is trace amounts within the zombie powder of some scopolamine. So
this with scopolamine, I believe that they concocted another type of neurotoxin type of thing in the pharmaceutical, because they said it was all about pharmaceutical biotech,
right,
extracting this thing. So what if America is mass producing something from studying these voodoo magical,
yeah.
plantology or
And
whatever?
they
Go
make
ahead, Herbert.
patches for when you fly on planes that are supposed to relieve some of the the negative
Motion
effects
sickness.
using scopolamine.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is, like, if you want to talk about a zombie drug, scopolamine is the one. You get it blown in your face, right?
Mhm.
And then you do whatever anybody tells you to.
Tells
It's
you
a
to do.
hypnagogic. So
Yeah.
you completely lose all control over your free will.
So now, in regard to the whole pharmaceutical aspect of this, right, as far as mining natural culture for these substances, they were talking about self-induced hibernation with this drug. They, like, the guy that was his advisor, that was Wade Davis's advisor, he had worked under Ewan Cameron from MK Ultra, right? And he said, unfortunately, when they left, they stopped all of his procedures, when he was doing all the psychic driving with the LSD and the electroshock therapy and the strobe lights, and but nonetheless, they said that for 13 years before he went over there, the pharmaceutical industry had been trying to go into Haiti specifically to get this formula and we find out in the book there's 4 different types of these zombie drugs.
Damn.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to mention, Robbie. That's why I was looking at it. I'll get into the scopolamine a little bit, but with the with the powder and stuff. That was even a thing that does come up even in, like, his, I guess, published whatever research and stuff. That he does he gets a bunch of them, and I think, like, maybe his original thing was the tetrodotoxin, or however you say that, and that does come up in some of them, and then some it's not there at all. And some people are like, "Oh, see, he's wrong, or he's a kook, or this was dumb." But then he does propose that he says he thinks that there's other things, and then there is other people that have worked off of him to prove that it is possible. He says that he does think that also deter and some other Bruga Mencia, and then he's, it could fit could fit the narrative, because when it comes to the pharmacology, it has scopolamine and atramine. It has tropamine alkaloids that causes the classic anticholinergic toxidrome, which is agitation, delirium, amnesia, hallucinations, disorientation. That stuff can be used instead of other things that's found in the other one. So, like, kind of what you're saying, 4 different types. They do think that there's other, I guess, formulas to doing this besides that one.
So I have the 4 different preparations that they use to make these different types of zombies. One was called Trombe Leve. One was called Retare Bon Agne. One was called Tue, and one was called Leve. And it says that describing the specific formulas, he did offer the facts that one killed immediately, one made the skin rot, and the third made the victims waste away slowly. So, yeah, these are punishments.
Wow.
Yeah. And with the pufferfish, specifically with the liver and one of the other parts, I want to say it was the reproductive area. If you ate that and it got stuck in your mouth, it would cause your mouth to rot from the inside out. And if you swallowed it and it was in your gut, it was cause your gut to rot.
God,
so this stuff is and they said, depending on the time of year when they harvest these puffer fish, that the summertime was when they were the highest in this compound, and so they would generally make these powders in the heat of the summer, and then the ash from burning off the stuff, they said it was like a caustic yellow, but then they would save these summer, formula that they had made for the rest of the year, because this was when they could harvest it, and it was the strongest as far as that they needed for the ritual practice.
So why do you think they put the Bufo Alvarez in the movie? Like that was, the frog, because that's the most powerful, from what I heard, in the Sonora Desert. Mainly here in America, but in Haiti.
Well, but now that's a hallucinogen, right? So you're going to have
separation.
You're going to have this expanded separation. You're going to have the intense feeling of that you're dying, that you're having an out-of-body experience. And then the pufferfish, it basically puts you into that catatonic state. So it's a combination of, and they said with the toads that they would actually take a sea worm and put it in with the toad in a jar, and they would put it in the coffin and bury it for 3 days. And that the sea worm would get the toad super upset so that all of its toxic glands would fill up to the fullest. And then they're incorporating this, energy from the then they would pull it up, and that's how they would basically create, harvesting the most they could with the least amount possible.
This is animal alchemy, right? Everybody thinks about, mineral alchemy, and everybody thinks about plant alchemy, but this is animal alchemy. We're using the different properties of the different animals to their fullest extent, which is not something that's really talked about because of how gross and torturous.
Yeah. Well, and that's what they were doing in media, as far as, where medicine comes from. They were experimenting with all these different animals and plants. And, you see it in a lot of native cultures from South America to Africa to even in the German Netherlands. It's depending on where you are, people push the edge with what's available to them.
And alchemy is one of
Go ahead, Ethan.
Alchemy is one of the sciences or studies that tries to focus on immortality, the pursuit of immortality with elixirs, whether mineral, plant, or animal. And of course, this movie, the whole theme is about immortality in a sense, and even the unification of the serpent and rainbow. We got the wisdom and the immortality. And it's just, I think that title too just is striking because it has this whole biblical relationship in what are the primordial stories of the Bible that are predate the Jewish heritage, right? With the Garden of Eden, with the snake and the wisdom and immortality, and of course the Noah's Ark with the resulting rainbow of unification and immortality and reincarnation. And it makes me think too of how this movie and also all zombie movies are essentially a perversion of the pursuit that Osiris lays out for this immortality and rebirth.
That makes sense. Yeah.
All zombie movies, I swear, have this like Swamp Thing. Not all, many different movies and series of zombie flicks will have this Swamp Thing, the green Osiris creature. It just makes me think how often the perversion of this pursuit of immortality is integrated into these movies. And just one other thing too, there's several different Tibetan and Hindu groups that have different really initiation practices. One famously, not so hard to kind of confirm, is like the meditation state that gets so deep that they will bury themselves, and they can basically undergo a process of internal breathing. Another one is staying a night in a graveyard. And it reminds me too of, and the whole movie has this immortality, and it's very Orphic, right? He goes to like rescue the girl and save us with the new discovery to hell and back. And the jaguar symbolism in the beginning, right? Has that same thing. The Mayans, it's all about
spirit animal,
being the spirit animal that links the two.
Called Serpent,
right?
And then at the end, that same entity jumps into him when he fights that evil guy, right?
And there's the Tibetan Buddhism has the lessons concerning really high meditation, reaching rainbow body, which again is this universal humanity consideration of becoming light and becoming enlightened. The rainbow
13th
body.
breath.
Yeah.
Well, the jaguar is the only big cat that sleeps in a tree in the jungle.
Mm.
It's closer to the skies, closer to the spirit realm.
I was going to say, if any of y'all have kids, if y'all have seen the show Elena of Avalor, it's about this princess. It's in the same place that Princess Sophia from a show called Sophia the First, right? Isn't that funny? Enchantia is this land, like this imaginary land. But in the Elena of Avalor show, Avalon, I don't know. It's like in South America, and they have these flying jaguars that escort them everywhere. They're like their guides. They're kind of like their guardians. Like they don't have it. Well, I think they have guards of like their little castle, but these, no one fucks with the jaguars, right?
Right.
Yeah, they're flying around. They're pretty cool. They talk.
What's crazy? No, go ahead, Rob.
I was going to say there was a big craze in the mid to late 1800s about people being afraid to be buried alive because of you got to figure when people started to find out about a lot of this voodoo culture from the outside looking in, even the voodoo doll itself was not part of the voodoo culture like at all. It was something that was interjected into the storyline just for sensationalism, basically, right?
Well, they're called Nkisi in Congo, so there's a split off of the Nkisi is a fetish. They call it a fetish object, but they made it into like Hollywood shit. But go ahead.
Yes. But I was going to say people that were afraid to be buried alive. Hans Christian Andersen constantly carried a note in his pocket instructing what should be done with his body after his death. The English novelist Wilkie Collins placed a similar precautionary note by his bedside table each night. Dostoevsky did as well. And he urged that on his burial, it should be delayed 5 days, least he should still be alive. There was Ada Cavendish, an actress. She left instructions that on her death, her jugular should be sliced to make sure that she was dead. But then Lady Byron, Richard Burton, Daniel O'Connor, Lord Lytton, Bishop Berkeley. Yeah, you just go through this and they had this coffin they developed. It was called the Lifesaver coffin, and it basically had a tube with a little system, and if you woke up in the coffin alive still, you would pull a little trigger and it would ring a bell.
Weren't those like the ones with the windows in them?
Now, I don't know if
the coffins that have like the windows in them with I think it's like a door that you can open. Like, and like stick your arm out or whatever.
In the movie,
I'm sorry. If I'm a poltergeist, I'm going to each and every one of those bells and I'm ringing them over and over again.
Hey, so right before we get off or too far away from the subject, Ethan, you're onto something with the bastardization of these ancient cultures, especially Headless. Me and Headless talked about the recent Begonia movie with Emma Stone in it and how it's a bastardization of the I'm gonna butcher his name, Aristeas. Did I say it right?
Yeah, Aristeas.
And the original Grecian Begonia ritual with the bees and how it's like an inverse of that, and it's just it's like that a lot in a lot of movies, I think, and we don't really realize it.
Yeah.
And you know what's wild? Talking about being buried alive. My uncle was one of the Grand Masons here in South Carolina. I used to always ask him because he used to wear the ring, and anytime like we get pulled over by the cops, he just flashes his ring and cops go away, let us go. And I said, how, I was a child, of course. I was like, how can I be a part of that? And he said, he used to say, come back to me when you're a man. Then when I became a teenager, I asked him, I was like, well, I'm pretty much a man. I'm becoming a man. I just want to know, like, what is the process of that? Like, what is all that stuff? And he was talking about something like about being buried alive.
Hiram Abiff.
Hiram Abiff.
Yeah,
the whole Hiram Abiff type thing. But
I've talked to several Freemasons that have told me the same thing. There's a ritual that they have to be buried alive.
Dude.
So,
And the
Get
skull
into
and
the
bones do
druids.
this as well.
Yeah, but it also connects, because Osiris is the god of the dead. So
Right.
going back to the zombie being green, and,
Yeah.
and the Osiris, the archetype, they just did a research paper on metaphysics called the Neuro-Eigen modes, and they're discovering through the Eigen modes in the mind that cultural evolution with psychedelics pertains to the archetypes throughout mythology. So all of the archetypes play like a song when you're in a psychedelic state. Archetypically, and they call them the Eigen modes. And in that paper, they're pretty much surmising that the every single mythology transfers one archetype over. Baron Samedi in Voodoo is Osiris, and Alegba is an archetype of Osiris.
Yeah.
So the god of the dead, like the most
Papa
associated.
Legba.
Right. Papa
Legba,
Leg.
yeah.
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 Legba.
Crossroads.
Dude,
Legba.
I had a voodoo doll of him when I was a kid. My mom
Really
gave
Ishu.
it to me. I don't know why, but
They call him Ishu, but he opens the gate to the rest of the spirits and everything.
Right.
So
Well,
these pantheons just passed over and take on
Right.
new names in all of different civilizations if you study them.
So as far as that opening of the way, Osiris did that, Jesus does that. But when you get into the worship of the miscellaneous mystery schools that came out of the Phrygian and Egyptian systems, from Adonis to Osiris to Attis they all would take a tree on a certain, it was generally March 22nd, 322, which is where we get the skull and bones number. And they would essentially hollow out the tree and keep the inside part and carve a effigy of the dead and soon to rise again Osiris or Adonis.
it's the same thing with Manus too.
Yeah, man, exactly. And he wears the exact same costume as the Phrygian Attis.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But nonetheless, they would anoint that with oil and keep it for a year in the sanctuary. And when you get into the voodoo culture, when you go in, one of the central themes is a small black coffin that is, essentially, I think, in many ways, carrying over from this philosophy.
One thing
well, the guy who does, go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, just real quick, I did want to, because I know, like you mentioned, I think, Skull and Bones and the Freemasons, even with the OTO, from my experience, at some point in their initiations, you will get into something that resembles a box, and they will act like they're nailing it closed. So have you experienced that there? So,
Wow.
Well, and they say that's the first. That's the death to the mortal world.
Was it ever in the shape of like an egg?
Okinus and getting into the serpent and
Charles Manson, the child in the box, Stephen King, Castle Rock, the child in the box, but he traveled into a parallel reality. The reason why they put him in the box.
Dude, you give my kid a box and she'll play in it all day. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but box.
But there's parallels. It's coming from these lodges. It's a form of some type of magical initiation or some shit like that.
Right. Well, in that third degree, when King Solomon basically rises up Hiram Abiff with the lion's paw grip, and he brings him up, and he basically pulls him up so his mouth is right next to the initiate's ear, and he whispers the secret word, which is that word. Jabulon. Well, Jabulon is one, but this is Mahabone.
Oh, Mahabone. Okay, yeah,
Mahabone.
Great bone.
But it basically is representative of the left-hand pillar and the feminine side. But it's this whole idea of this secret word of the highest initiate within, going back to the order of Serapis,
When I think of Bach and immortality, I think of hermetics, right? The whole idea of hermetically sealing an object or our body even. And in relation to that, the Taoists believe that our organs and our body and our whole different body systems are each individually contained and have to be separated, but have to flow in unison together at the same rate of vibration and alignment. And so without a container, we're leaking our bodily fluids and our mental thoughts, and losing energy without a proper box or container.
That's crazy. And I was just about to say something. I was reading that thing that popped up. Did somebody have a question?
Fire Pixie.
Yeah. They wanted to know which part you were from, the coastal part or upstate.
Oh, I'm from Columbia, so I'm like in the middle area. Oh, well, I'm in South Carolina. I referenced that. I don't know if I said that earlier. But
they made it sound like you're from South Carolina.
A lot of people say I sound like I'm from the Midwest or some shit.
No, I think you said something about South Carolina, and I was like, oh, I guess he lives there.
Oh, I did. Okay. I was making sure that I stated that. But yeah, that's very weird. But to the point that you were making, Robbie, kind of lost. I was just about to say something that you said last. You guys go ahead while I remember what I was about to say.
I was going to say, so in regard to the culture of Voodoo being a secret society, there's this Lacaré. He verified the existence of passports, ritual handshakes, secret passwords, banners, flags, the brilliant red and black flag uniforms, as well as specialized body of spirits, songs and dances, certain drum beats. That's one of the things that I really kind of found interesting, was with these drum beats during these rituals. They would have 3 drummers, and like you were talking about, Headless, they would lay this out with they would take corn and sprinkle it on the ground, almost in a Kabbalistic type tree of life, and then they would branch out and determine where the drums went within the 4 directions. And these drums, they each had their own syncopation that played at their own time, and as they would basically play, they would change syncopated levels, and at a certain point they would all come in to a syncopated heightened state, and that would be the point at which the spirit would come in.
Robbie, do you want to just watch it? I got all that on this clip right here. It's about 3 minutes, if you don't mind.
I'm up for whatever.
It sounds like
I'm not. I'm not playing in 3 minutes. I'm sorry. We'll take it down, dude. It happens every time when we play this game. I'm not doing that. I'm not being a dick.
God.
Every time we play this game, it happens. Doesn't it? Does it not? Does it not? Does it not happen every time we play this game? So why do we do this? When you bang your head against the wall and it hurts, do you do it again?
No. But it's the perfect example. What happens is
I haven't even covered the movie yet to get into a different show about zombies.
Or you could cut the music off.
Well, it sounds like a whole binaural, if that's the right word. I forget, but
it's binaural. But trinaural.
Separating the hemisphere of the brain. Okay, yeah, and try even more. But the premise is for everyone else that it separates the hemispheres of the brain and then brings them together in some format, different systems, different formats, but interesting.
Very interesting. Let's go back to the movie. I think it was very retrochronistic because they're showing you what's going to happen before it happens. When he sees the jaguar spirit, when he first goes to the medicine man in the Amazon, the medicine man tells him, I have something for you to see. And he hands him the medicine. Well, first he gets the medicine to take back to Harvard, but he gives him his own. He was like, I want you to drink this. And the guy next to him that was driving the helicopter, he was like, don't drink that shit, bro.
Yeah.
And by the way, I wanted to ask y'all, did the guy that drove the helicopter actually die?
There were certain things I wanted to ask Robbie if you knew if it was true or not.
I've heard something about that, but I'm not sure.
There's a lot of shit in that movie. I'm like,
Did he die in the movie? I'm just asking, but that would mean that the Amazon people killed him if he died in the movie. But
did really drink that shit and fake the guy out? Or no?
Now, I think one big difference between the movie and the book was Wade Davis going in and doing all this research and going back to Haiti numerous times. He was never distributed and given the zombie powder and went through the resurrection cycle
Yeah,
himself. But in the movie, Wes Craven took those liberties because this is like you were talking about, Ethan. This is an inherent inversion. You as well, Ani, of the Osiris cycle. You know, and instead of evolving into upward forms with the zombie, you're evolving into downward forms within the underworld.
The chthonic aspect. And that's the thing about it. Like the movie was showing a lot of occultism and metaphysics. So there's a guy that was resurrected. His name was Christus. So he has the name Christ in his name. He was like, his name was like Christus, and he's actually the one that saves fucking Bill Pullman's ass at the end. Because if he didn't dig him up in that time, he was fucked.
Right.
Yeah.
There's the other character's name that's kind of like his teacher or accompanies him, and it's Lucian, which is
Lucifer. Yeah.
Good point, Ethan, because without Lucian, he would have never had the counter light force to battle the dark force.
Right.
Satan.
And Wes Craven's good with doing that as far as setting up the dichotomy of the two side, the dualism.
Yeah, he does do a good job of that.
Yeah, that's at the beginning of the movie. As soon as you play this thing,
I actually saved that clip too when I was looking at it.
Yeah, right. I like this. Yeah, for people, I guess, who are listening, it says in the legends of voodoo, the serpent is a symbol of earth, the rainbow is a symbol of heaven. Between the two, all creatures must live and die. But because he has a soul, man can be trapped in a terrible place where death is only the beginning. Ooh.
That's scary, man.
and they talk about this state as far as that they put them into. There is no past, you have no memories, and there is no future because you're not going anywhere, and you're basically controlled and used as slave labor in the fields.
The servitor.
Yeah, the servitor.
That's
exactly.
what they're turning us into.
Yeah.
They're slowly turning us into that.
Oh yeah,
very Black Logian.
Yeah. Well, the colors of the colors of Haiti were red and blue under the French, but they stripped the blue away and brought in the black in regard to the voodoo culture, and it represents the night as well as the people uprising and taking over against the French.
That's Baron Samedi. That's Baron Samedi right there. That is Osiris.
Okay.
Right, yeah, the top. Anytime you see the top hat and you see the paint, the white paint, this is Baron Samedi right here.
Do you know what the significance of the top hat is? Where that
I was
the origin?
I was just about to ask y'all if y'all knew.
From what I understand, it's also Masonic. It represents someone who has superior knowledge.
Because to heaven or whatever from
ring
the top
master
of their head. Also the ring. Yeah.
Actually, I got a different idea, because you actually see this a lot in ancient Greek depictions of Hades, right? So he has a flower pot head, right? And so he's got a flower pot on top of his head, indicating that he's a chthonic deity, because the rest of his body would be under the ground if the flower pot is sitting on the ground.
Very interesting.
And so,
that's a very interesting point.
That's what I think the top hat is. It's the continuation of
flower,
that
crown chakra.
Right.
Right.
And then you have
feathers.
That's the
feathers, dude. Yeah, no, feathers as well. Yeah.
The crown chakra.
The crown chakra has 33 petals on the flower. Yeah. So
that's when he drinks that shit that you see the jaguar.
Yeah, that's what he said. That he was on the ground playing with himself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With the jaguar though, yeah.
They were just looking at him like
the jaguar.
And
jaguar or something. Jaguar. Yeah.
In some ways, the jaguar is like the lion's grip, like you were talking about. Like this is how he gets out of hell.
Yeah.
I'm looking at. I have some. Just get past this stuff.
Let me see.
Here's where you start seeing, and I think you had mentioned it first, Ani, about I think maybe Saturn.
It's like a Solomonic.
You will see that shit.
There's a sigil.
Oh yeah, Caduceus.
He is Saturn. Like the Bakar is Saturn because he's restricting.
Oh, yo.
Yeah, that's the Saturn symbol right there. That's the what's it called?
Good eye.
The Gree.
Yo,
it's
what's
that's
that
Scorpio
one
Shadow.
right there? The
Scorpio,
top
right?
left.
Oh.
The top
Yeah,
left of
It's-
the no down.
It's
No,
an
no, no,
8-pointed
down.
star.
That one.
Yeah, it looks like Ishtar.
That one.
Yeah,
Is
Ishtar,
that
non
chaos or
I
Melchizedek.
think that's 8. I think that's 8
I don't know
points.
if that was
That's
a
8,
chaos
yeah.
Should be
Yeah.
the chaos.
sign
Yeah.
for chaos magic.
That's
these
right
are
where they
babies.
put it. Yeah, that's right where they put it on all of the stelae from Ugarit and Sumeria. They always put it in that spot, the 8-pointed star.
Mhm.
Wow.
This is when the guy starts acting crazy because that dude's clicking the cup too.
Yep.
I think he
So-
woke up out of that zombie state and realized that he was in it, and he got belligerent because the Petois spirit was still on him.
Mm.
I was thinking about the 8 in relation to at the end, and maybe a couple of times there is a scorpion that comes out of actually Lucian's mouth, and
saw
it
that.
doesn't
Yes,
come
I have
out of
that.
his mouth maybe, but when he's in the grave, a spider is
Mhm.
crawling on his face, which are both, of course, the 8-legged creatures.
Right.
It was all astrology. This whole movie was astrology. I just, me studying Vedic astrology, I just saw so much symbolism of it. But these are Veves and they're the Pati Pimbas in Santeria, and it kind of shows like it's telling the spirit which direction it need to go. It goes into in possessive states. That's why they draw it.
Mm.
It's like a conduit for almost a command, or how the spirit is getting instructions of who can enter into this field that we're
Like a-
establishing here.
Like a Solomonic sigil.
Like a sigil, right.
Yeah, it's a
You know,
sigil.
if you take like these, you see how these down here have those swirls on the end of them? I
Mhm.
swear, like if you piece those together, you do get this up here.
Mm.
Oh,
You're
shit.
right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
In the ritual, they drew different size circles for the different size drums. So like they
Right.
would have one larger one, and then they would have different symbols inside of that circle for that drum, and then another set of symbols for the other drum as well. So all of these things were coordinated not only harmonically, but also with these different symbols that they put on the ground underneath of them.
Right.
And,
Good
Sympathetic magic.
and that circle by the rainbow, right? Was that also a serpent? Like Ouroboros? I don't know.
That's definitely a rainbow on the exterior.
I didn't know if that was a serpent because look, you got this little head over here on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Or what's up?
Wait,
up,
we
Nick,
go
or-
back. This one's better. Watch.
Yeah, just I don't know. I
Well,
thought it looked like an Ouroboros rainbow. It was kind of a cool
Yeah, this thing right here. Right?
incorporation of both the serpent and the
Oh,
rainbow
yeah,
in one
yeah,
image.
yeah.
Yeah, when I saw that before, I was like, "What the hell is that?" I didn't even think of rainbow. I thought
But-
it was like,
Oh no, up. It's up a little bit.
Yeah, up to the right.
Up
On the
to the
of
top.
that one.
Um,
It's the one with the circle on top.
the
of
one
it.
with the circle. The circle is a
Yeah, that
rainbow, and I think that's a serpent as well.
Mm.
Because look at the head on the right over there, or the tail. Is that the head right there?
Looks like a feather.
Well, all right. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I
It
don't
could
know.
be a no, but I see what you're saying. Like the head is sort of going off to the side, but that looks like a feather. But
Yeah, maybe a
It-
feather.
it looks medicine wheelie, you know?
Well, because there's a little thing underneath it. Maybe it's resting on that. I don't know what that is. That looks like a face, actually. Never mind. I don't know.
Well,
It's got
Resting.
the 4 corners and the 4 gates of
Right,
most mandalas. They're
Yes.
that quality. Sorry.
The
But I was
number
gonna
of
say-
flowers is sacred
Oh, go ahead,
geometry
Aaron.
as well.
"Oh yeah."
the flower. I was gonna say is in regard to when you go down and you see that serpent going up the pole. You see that with Asclepius. You see that with Moses and the Asherah pole. You see that with the Egyptian serpent in the tree. You see, I mean, so the serpent, going back into the mysteries, even within the Druids, it's one of the most long-standing sacred wisdom symbols.
It's yeah.
Pre-existing before going back into ancient Lemurian stuff I've read.
You can live in any terrain. It can live in the trees. It can live in water. It can live in the sand.
Right.
Like a snake, it lives in any terrain. It's a very spiritual animal.
All the esoteric different dimensional realms it can coincide and exist within.
The serpent is the waveform. If you turn if you turn it up, it looks like the encephalograph
Yes.
electroencephalograph of brainwave form. So everything is a waveform, like a serpent.
Right. The reality itself is a waveform.
Right.
At its
That's at the heart of this
essential
movie.
base. Yes.
Right. So they show when he's back in Boston, they show the EEG scans of these different people that they've done the experiments on, and it all drops off once you become that zombie. But the only thing that remains is the vision and the other
they did show that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
Yeah, so it's basically you're unconscious the whole fucking time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
One thing here I noticed, I find interesting. You have you see again these symbols. Even this up there, if you're sideways, it would still be kind of like the sigil of Saturn. But even when they now go to the graveyard for the first time, you get it kind of again on the gate.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
It's everywhere.
Yo, that stuff is literally everywhere throughout the movie. It was the first time.
And Wes Craven did all that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That shit was interesting.
One thing I don't see a lot of is magical implements. Oh, that's another good X and X. That's a Freemason sort of symbol.
Yeah, it's even the sigil for Saturn too.
There were magical implements within the various rituals. They would take cane juice and blow it at the feet. They would take alcohol as well and blow it into the fire. The things that they used for implementation weren't necessarily physical. Now there was the idea of throwing the bone, where they would take a fish bone or a reptile bone. That was a certain bone that was long and pointed within the animal, and the voodoo priest, would throw it at someone. And this goes back into African culture as well, as far as throwing the bone. And the person that received the bone, it was like getting the evil eye. And there's documented cases of people wasting away in 3 to 4 days. Yeah, voodoo death. That's exactly what they call it. As far as the physicians in the medical industry, they call it voodoo death. Yes.
So as far as I've seen, there are 3 different states of belief that can come about through these rituals, right? So one of them would be the idea that you would get better, right? And that's what's that called? The something effect.
Oh,
but anyway, placebo, right? The placebo.
Yeah.
And then you've got the nocebo effect.
Right.
The nocebo effect is where you start to get sick. And then the very end of the nocebo effect is voodoo death.
Right.
Yeah, I hate that they got Lucy in, man, at the end. That was real messed up. But for some reason, I knew they was going to get him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did they put the moon on the cross? I was wondering if that's like a solar cross or a lunar cross.
There's a
snake going down.
Serpent coming into it. And it's a skull and crossbones almost in a certain way, too. It's got the cross down there.
This is Inri at the top.
INRI, yeah. It kind of looks in similar ways to the Eastern Orthodox cross. And then you have the cross of Jerusalem there, too. With the 4 crosses on the side, that gives you the cross of Jerusalem.
Wow. The Maltese cross? Okay, never mind. Sorry.
I've got it paused, but when the Loa is overtaking the woman in the ritual, you can clearly see the form that she's taking is a pregnant woman. So if I just pause it.
Moonchild.
There you go. Right. So she's in the position of a pregnant woman after she gets possessed in this ritual. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was definitely the signs of the Nephilim and all of that in the temples is inviting those similar spirits like the Rada, the hot spirits, what are called seraphic spirits, to come into the body of a virgin and have multiple men have sex with her, so they can imbue her with the different DNA to produce a moon child. And a lot of people were born from the lineages of these virgins that were taken advantage of, and that becomes the Nephilim bloodline in the history of that, because it's infused. The spirits were being called down into the virgin woman, and then she birthed one of their child. You don't know whose child it is. But the point is that child has children and they have children, and that carries on that lineage. And today, I believe they started a new tradition with these celebrities and world stage figures, that they've restarted that tradition, and they're literally having sex rituals and the IVF births. They're doing some stuff to repeat
Diddy and baby oil.
Well, the timing, you can get down to the very second of implantation when you're doing IVF, right? You can actually get even more precise with all of the astrology and everything. So if you want to know how they're going to make that a moon child, it has to be on very specific dates.
Yeah, they're called tithis in Vedic astrology. The moon has to be lined with a certain lunar mansion. So it has to be in the position of a fixed star. And the fixed stars, it governs the zodiac. So these are things outside of the zodiac. So this is a field. If I had a big circle and a circle within a circle, the circle within it is the zodiac. The bigger circle is the fixed stars. The moon has to pass through the bigger circles. And when it was aligned with the earth geocentrically, they knew that the spirit could enter down and through that.
And that's kind of what that cross looked like, as far as the alignment, and then the spirit of the serpent coming down and fertilizing the ovum.
So the spirit is God. It's the God or the fallen angel or whatever you want to call it coming down into the person. That's all the pictures we had?
Yeah, I think that's all I kind of
okay. Yeah, so the
might have more.
I was hoping it was going to spark my memory with what happened towards the end when they finally went to war with the Bakar. Let me see if I can remember exactly step by step how that came together.
I really love the physical effects, right? So when they've got the leopard there, what they're doing is they're shining this light onto a stream of water. And so they get that shimmery effect that ends up creating kind of a rainbow. And so you see the rainbow versus this other guy, which would kind of represent the serpent.
And the woman, the sister with her head cut off, Krista's sister, that's Rahu in Vedic astrology. That's the serpent. Guess what? Rahu is the serpent in Vedic astrology. It represents the shadow of the planets. Look up Rahu and Ketu. Y'all know who Rahu, Headless know about it. We get the head is cut off, right?
Very closely tied to the moon. Yeah.
That's what that was. So if I could go through every scene, I promise you I can figure out the astrology that they were conjecturing throughout the film. But that was when he sailed on a boat, he told him, he said, I was there in your dream. That's how I know what you were thinking. But he said, I'm more effective in your mind than I am physically. Right. So even when he got back to America, the spirits were still on him, and the spirits came out of him and jumped on that woman that we were talking about in red. And he had to come back then. Well, one, he wanted to save the girl. That's a part of the whole the mythos. You get the girl at the end.
The hero's journey.
The hero's. That's what I was thinking of. The hero's journey. He had to go back and get his feminine half. She represented his feminine half, but he had to go to war with the underworld. He had to go back into the underworld. So it was almost a Amduat journey, because he had the fly there. He had to go. And as soon as he got there, you thought he was kidnapped, but it was Lucian that swapped out the cars, brought him to another place. And, on the cover of the movie, the cross on his head came from Lucian putting his spiritual protection
on him.
That was critical for the end.
Ouch.
Right. He did like a little gree-gree. He gave him a little gree-gree, and he gave him the two crosses. And I think
did we see how Lucian, I don't remember this part. Did we see how he was poisoned or how he was taken out? Was he taken out by a bad person, or did he do it to himself?
He just starts fucking puking up blood, right?
It was because the Bakar
puked up a scorpion.
The Bakar
he did puke up a scorpion.
Sorry, he had already put the spirits over him. Just like how he hopped on the woman, he hopped on Lucian too. So showing how powerful this shit is. You know, well, how many spirits he collected? So look how many spirits the book.
Oh yeah,
motherfucker had hundreds damn spirits.
Right.
See,
And
I
you
got
gotta
the
think-
impression. I got the impression from Lucien's death that it was kind of like this Star Wars thing. You know, like you could strike me down and I'll come back 10 times
And I'll
harder.
come
Like
back
he
even
was
stronger.
actually, you know, physically leaving his body so that he could join the fight from the spiritual realm, which, you know, he said, I'm more powerful in the spiritual realm anyway. So
He
I
did
kind of
say
saw that happening as well. So
yeah,
That's
he
the
did.
guy that ripped his own head off, right?
Mm.
Is that the same
no,
guy?
I think that was
Yeah, no,
that was
he
Lucien.
does.
That was
At the end, he does rip off his head. I was so shocked. I remember specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he comes out. I think I don't think it may be his body. It may be his corpse that the dude had.
Oh, he was impersonating him. He was impersonating. That wasn't
yeah,
him.
he came in
That
there
was
and
the
like
performer.
ripped his own head off.
Yeah. When he
with
ripped
the
his head off,
symbolic.
that was a hallucination he was implanting in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
He was fucking with him. And that's the thing about it. It almost was like the Pennywise spirit. He was feeding off his fears.
Mm.
You know, going into the whole Lovecraftian thing, because it is really the deadlights, and it's a interdimensional void that feeds off negative energy. That's what it actually is. Not a clown or anything. That's just a
Right.
It just manifests as a clown.
But the clown is a Rakshaksha, is actually a demon
True.
in Vedic astrology.
Right. That, what was it? Indra cried out Rakshasa because after they were created, they came to try to eat him. And these Rakshasas, they have these large vampiric teeth in the bottom and the top, and like long black hair. And they only worked in like pits and deep dark spaces, bringing back minerals and gems. And they were, the Rakshasas are interesting.
And if you look
what's
into
interesting with this movie specifically, you got the clown makeup going on with that shaman in the very beginning. Like normally shaman, you know, stuff does not look like that, and it was colored in a certain way that made me think clown. So it did have that Rakshasa kind of quality to it.
Mm.
And this is the thing about it in Vedic astrology. Like if I looked into your chart, I could tell you whether you have a Rakshaksha placement. That's the darker planets. That's Mars, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu. Or you have the David planets. That's Jupiter, Venus, or the Sun, or Mercury. Or you have something called Manusha. That's more of the Moon, Earth placements. And the Manusha is a human. The Deva is an angel. Rakshasa is the demon. If you have a Rakshasa placement in your 8th and your 12th house, that means you have to watch what you say, because what you say can have black magician implementations.
Right.
You know, when they say watch what you say, if you have a Rakshasa placement, you can literally speak death on somebody's life.
Mm.
So a lot of these black magicians around here, they have the 8th. Like I got Saturn in the 8th house. That's why I know so much about the fucking occult. You know, you have Saturn in the 8th house. You have a Rakshasa placement. It's called Shatavisha. And you're able to literally, the vibration of what you speak can manifest more. So you have to watch what you say.
Well, that's one thing I thought that was missing from the movie, at least overtly, is the time of year that these things are taking place. Because I know that specifically in voodoo, they've got certain festivals and certain sacrifice days during the year that they do. And so in this, they sort of say, oh, it's just whenever. But really, those are very specific dates and very specific purposes.
Feeding days. They have to feed the spirits. Celebrations of feeding them. Yeah, but it's a religion, though. Voodoo is a religion, you know. So it does have power in it. But I feel like the spirits get more hungry. You got to do more things when you're almost in an astral economy there. So I don't know. I mean, right now, the condition that Haiti's in, it seems like they need to do something else. Not completely get rid of voodoo, but they need to evolve the system, I feel.
Well, but the voodoo system, the evolution of the voodoo system is what has essentially allowed them to separate themselves out and keep their own sovereignty as a nation state.
Is it sovereignty? But
Well,
isn't
but I think no, but I think
Not for the
that's why
people,
they've
for the
kept them so
elites.
poor. I think that's why they've kept them so poor, and
well, we know
because
that, but is
oh
it?
yeah.
It's like a
So I
little.
know. You know, I know what you mean.
It's a
You know,
mask,
it's the
It's a
bird that
farm.
flies in the sky. You know, it's
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
But I
I
understand what
think
you're
I
saying.
think Haiti's a farm. Like they've got the
Yeah.
people, their bosses that are connected to all these elites, sort of using that area as sort of like a training ground for people like the Clintons and a lot of other people that want to go down there and learn this stuff because
Mm.
a
You
lot
ever?
of elites learn voodoo. A
I
lot of
talked with Alan H. Greenfield, who wrote the book "The Secrets of the Black Lodge." I've had him on my channel, and there's literal schools that they go through Haiti and Europe and the Romanian caves where they train you to be a part of the Black Lodge. Ever heard of this? Like they
Oh yeah.
train you to literally talk to demons in a cave, and you have to be one person has to stay behind. So you all telepathically are in a class speaking to a demon. I think it's called scolomancy or something like that. Is in his book. He was breaking it down on my channel. The tulpas and everything. The tulpas manifest themselves, and they teach. It's like Satan is teaching the class, and then somebody has to stay behind in the cave as a sacrifice forever, so they can't leave the cave. So one student at the end on some Hogwarts, some dark Hogwarts shit. After you finish your class, the class for the year, you learn some secret black magic shit. When the rest of the class resurfaces back to the surface, one person is selected to stay behind, and they have to stay with the demon or the entity.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah,
That kind of gets into what is it? Aphrodite and who is it that goes into the underworld and she's trying to free
Persephone.
Yeah. And Adonis. And Adonis, agrees to stay in the underworld half the year and above world half the year. So, yeah.
Even Apollo. Apollo retreats into Hyperborea during the winter months.
Yeah, true.
That's true.
So now one of the things I wanted to bring up before we get out of here is there's also a ritual of gaining the soul back that they would perform. And I'll just read a little bit of it here. It says, the Mambo, a priestess in the Artabane, on the critical night, she bound his jaw, placed cotton in his nostrils, and dressed him in the clothing of the dead. His feet were tied, as were his hands, and he was laid in a narrow trough dug in the ground in the Aunfor. A white sheet covered his entire body. They put a thunderstone called a pere tonere on his chest with the skull of a human and a dog, and they would basically put a banana plant that they would basically, like Indiana Jones when he's switching the sandbag for the golden idol, this banana plant is the decoy, and they would sacrifice a chicken and basically the blood, and they would do this transference ritual where they move the zombie into the banana plant, and then the human would get his soul back, and then he could go about his way. The guy that had it done, he had health problems the rest of his life from this process, but nonetheless, he felt within himself and within the culture that he had regained his personality, essentially.
That's crazy, bro.
Right.
So it almost is like a swapping, like a placebo swapping, so the spirit can be tricked so you can gain the soul back.
Right.
That's what it sounds like. Well,
and he also said that after the ritual, the banana plant, it never grew. It kind of just wilted and died. So symbolically. But go ahead, Headless.
Have you guys ever heard of the zombie apocalypse that happened in the Bible? This is Matthew 27. 52,
oh, yes.
53.
Yes. I do know you're talking about when the dead got up after Jesus died.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a little zombie action going on there too.
Right. What was it? They prayed for death, but their flesh would not rot.
That's in Revelations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't there some big ass rock concert happening like in a couple of days called Zombie Apocalypse?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
They've been promoting this shit
Probably
all year. They've
a
been
metal
promoting.
festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All year they've been promoting.
The whole energy behind voodoo that is depicted in the movie and that we're all familiar with, it really actually is depicted in modernity with remote viewing and remote influence, right? So these magical operations or systems are still being at least researched, we could say with certainty today.
Hell yeah. Research, it's being used. I really believe.
Sure. No, I'm just saying it's people might think that this is like a far out thing because it's maybe foreign to Americana at large, but really it's not a step away from other systems that are doing the same thing.
Exactly.
I mean, it was what chaos magic is. Whatever works, you fucking use it. So they be mixing some of that voodoo dust with everything else.
Yep.
I used to incorporate a lot of, I guess, recipes from hoodoo and voodoo into ceremonial magic that I use. You know what I'm saying? It was just a different, I guess because I was a little bit of, I guess a chaos magician in a sense where I did incorporate a bunch of different things. I mean, it's a Thelemic style anyway. I mean, Thelema does kind of tend to pull in so many different areas. It gets like chaos anyway. But yeah, like there was times where just either out of boredom or I was more interested in like the herbs or just certain things that I would start using kind of like almost like root things from hoodoo.
Angelica root, saffron. And the thing about it, you got to go to the graveyard, collect dirt, or you go to a bank. You go to a bank too. Collect dirt, put it in a jar, and that's that hoodoo tradition. And you have to constantly
iron nails.
Yeah, you have to wash yourself to the spirit. There's something called shadow baths. You got to go in the shadows and act like you're washing yourself. But you got to have this blue light. Like you got to have these purple or blue lights. It's just crazy. It's crazy initiation.
Spectrum. Yeah.
It's always the shit.
Well, and that gets into like the main.
I was going to say, I want to hear more about that sometime, on. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the priestesses in the ritual that I had, they were all initiated into this, priestess class, right? And they were the ones specifically to get the ridden by the spirits.
Right.
And so everybody else is there participating beforehand, but then it was specifically them that would get the possessions during the ritual.
Right.
And they get better favor, right? So if you're one of the people, right, if you're one of the people possessed by one of these good spirits, you're definitely in for more wealth and more prosperity in the year to come. That's what they say.
So I went through a Bembe ceremony for my head in E5. It's a shosi. A shosi is the only Orisha that crosses from the African continent to the Native American pantheons. Because guess what? He wears the jaguar, the what you call it, the sash. Jaguar. He's the hunter, and
the great hunter.
The great hunter, and it says when he shoots his arrow, he never misses.
That's Nimrod.
Yeah, the mythology with him is that he's in the forest hunting quail. He has some quail at home that he hunted earlier. His mother comes to his home, sees the quail, and says, "I'm gonna cook this for my son." She takes the quail back to her house. He comes home, his quail's gone. He's like, "Where the fuck is my quail?" He goes in the village. He gets a priestess and says, "I want you to find my quail." The priestess doesn't tell him that his mother took it, so he shoots an arrow into the sky, say, "May this kill whoever took my quail." Arrow kills his mother. So the analogy is this is how the Black American is separated from the African continent, being separated from his mother, and that's representative of Shosi.
Oh, dude!
The legend of Jacob and Esau, where he's trading. His mother encourages Jacob to swap his birthright for a bowl of lentil soup.
Lentils,
So
red pottage.
Right. And you've got the great hunter character in Esau, coming home.
Yep.
Apparently he was hunting, but he didn't have anything to show for it. That was supposedly
Well,
what he was killing.
He brought the skins of Nimrod back with him,
Right.
which were the skins of Adam, going back to the.
I wonder if Nimrod is an archetype of Shoshi because they're both like great hunters.
The
The great
Heracles
hunter was
archetype. Who's the other great hunter?
Orion.
Ninurta.
Yep.
Ninurta. He was like the first archetype, kind of. If you go back to Sumer,
Who was that in Sumer?
Ninurta. Can't say his name.
Ninurta.
Eldest son of Enlil or El, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that Nimrod, I go deep into Nimrod, and that ties in with Osiris, that ties in with Adonis, ties in with the Freemasons, the founding of the Freemasons. Nimrod was the first Freemason, the maker of bricks. It's a deep subject especially when you look at these secret societies in Haiti in regard to their Masonic signs and symbols that have been documented that are very similar to Masonic procedures and how they operate the lodge and et cetera, et cetera.
I was told
Brick
that
dust is red like Mars.
there's a secret society of those magical orders that meet up on astral planes, and like people come to them to get like
secret chiefs.
I'll call Alan H. Greenfield right now on the phone.
No, I've heard of all that stuff before. I mean, he was in the OTO as well, so I mean, I know where he's like getting.
But what I was saying, I think Trump is an archetype of Nimrod.
Yeah,
because
with
remember,
the red Phrygian hat.
I don't know why I have a gift for seeing symbolism. Have you been seeing like the connection to the hunter all year, like Hunter Biden? You had the Hunter Biden thing, and you got all these hunter movies coming out. Predator just dropped. He's a hunter, and Trump is building this $300 ballroom, supposed to be a Solomon's Temple. The model, the blueprint is exactly the Solomon's Temple model in his blueprint. So
with the inner and the outer and the sanctum.
Is he going to put his ark in there? His golden ark that he has in Mar-a-Lago.
I heard rumors that there's going to be a data center in
that is like based on Israel's data center or something like that.
There's a designer of them that are I don't think it's limited to Israel, but all over the world these data centers are popping up in the same measurement kind of.
That's like beneath. They're gonna put it beneath it, right?
But if you look at the juxtaposition of the temples, how the temples were laid out, and compare those to computer chips, and you start to see larger cosmic computers being condensed down in size. You just have to wonder what a lot of these ancient temples to these different energetic forces were actually doing.
One more reference.
Go ahead, Andy.
One more reference to Trump and voodoo. Did you notice when he got inaugurated, his wife, Melania, who turned 666 months on Halloween. There's some weird shit happening on Halloween, but she was wearing the Alegba outfit.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yep. You saw it? You saw that?
No. Yes. I thought
and they had this other
Is there a picture of that you could pull up or that I can find somewhere?
They had this black lady wearing a similar hat. It's a boat hat. They call it the boat hat. And she had on the hat, and the black woman, I think she's Haitian too, I believe. But they had a black woman speaking, and then she came up with the hat. And I was like, this looks like Ishu. That looked like a leg bar when I was looking at it. So it was crazy seeing that. I don't know if there's a picture of it, but I pointed it out on my Patreon and looked at it.
All right. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to add before we wrap it up?
Well, I wanted to add something about the data centers. So these data centers are all going to be underground machinery that's supposed to control our lives. right? Think about that for a second, and in relationship to the underworld and all the rest of this other stuff that we're talking about. So, when you're having these LSD, not LSD, the 5-MeO DMT trips, you're seeing machinery everywhere,
Right.
right?
And the
And
machine
it's
elves.
controlling our lives.
Dude,
The machine elves.
Yeah.
I had gotten this back tooth. I think it was
I remember.
4 or 5 years ago. Well,
Oh no,
that was a different tooth.
different one.
Yeah, this one back here. They put me under using ketamine, and I don't know if y'all have heard this, but there's a theory that all these tech guys are on this ketamine.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
they're all connecting with the same spirit, the
Microdosing
same
ketamine.
entity.
Yeah.
And so when I was on the ketamine, I had been watching The Wire at the time and The Sopranos, like
Together.
when I got bored of one, I'd go to the other. And so I was like in this chair watching The Wire and like on the
On
screen,
ketamine.
and there's this like machine whirling around me. I didn't know what it was, but like everything in there was just fucking mechanical. And I was like,
Did it look like a Asian temple?
I mean, I was good, but like there were no or maybe it was a giant entity. I don't know.
I want to
Giant
take
ketamine entity.
Wheels within wheels.
How do you take it? You just put it in a tube?
They just did it intravenously.
Intravenously.
Which you're out in like
Yeah, that's
less than
straight
30 seconds, man. You're fucking
straight to the brain.
way better than being put under on any opiate or anything.
Back in the day.
Can I drink it?
Well, one
It's
thing
a-
that's
You can use it as a nasal spray.
Yeah.
Holy
It's
shit.
therapeutic,
It's-
actually. It did kill
right.
Matthew Perry. I
Oh
think.
yeah. Yeah.
But that's
yeah.
because he
Yeah.
mixed it with buprenorphine, Suboxone, which will kill you if you mix that.
Mm.
So you'll stop breathing.
Yeah, anything you mix with Suboxone will kill you.
Yeah. I've had
At the
friends.
end of the movie, it's a thread that comes together this occult and political relationship, right? Where he's the bad guy, forgive me, I forget his name, is about to practice the final ritual, but the
Oh shit.
Oh no,
government is in the middle of the revolution and has overthrown his power, right? So that occult and
we
government
lost you for a
connection is just
second.
right there. Oh, bummer. Oh,
Big time.
I was saying how the relationship between the occult and government is a thread that kind of is revealed in the end of the movie, where
Oh, yeah.
the bad guy is about to do his main final ritual on the divine feminine of the film, and the government is overthrown and he loses his power. Right, so this like intimacy between the magic and the magic of controlling the mind that is government is right there.
And the book goes into detail, pretty extensive detail about the governmental bodies being controlled by the different secret societies. And that there's all this talk that when the French were there, that everybody was afraid all the time that they were going to get something in their food or in their water. And it was just this, and basically they slowly drove them out and got their own people in. Yep, I know. And controlled it through the use of these neurological drugs.
Definitely. Great idea for a show, by the way, guys. We could maybe do some research into different
Ketamine demons.
Seeing what people interact with, maybe on if there's a certain entity for a certain drug. Maybe I don't know. It sounds interesting to me. Maybe I'll do that deep dive, Nick.
What,
if you have any shadow people stories having to do with
ketamine entity,
send it to headlessgiantpodcast@gmail.com.
Headless is mailbag.
I can tell you stories of seeing people high on ketamine.
I mean,
I'll tell that. Remind me next week. I'll tell you that shit. Fucking wild stuff.
You got it.
Oh yeah.
A friend of mine who was probably high. A friend of mine who was probably high was relating to me that each continent has a mother psychedelic. I forget the entirety of them all, but Iboga is the one Africa. I don't know what god or goddess they are each related to, but
wow, man.
Yeah, I've done Iboga. I've done Iboga. Have y'all ever done Changa?
I've done chaga.
I've heard of both of
This
those.
is very rare.
Iboga and Changa.
It's a recipe you got to make. You got to make it. Well, somebody made
Did you
it
say
for me.
chaga?
No, it's not chaga, not
chaga.
mushroom.
Okay, I've done
My
chaga.
brother-in-law went down to Peru and
It's-
was with some shamans and drank ayahuasca and
Oh, wow, yeah, I don't know ayahuasca, but it's
He had
it's changa.
crazy
Changa.
experience.
Okay.
Incredible.
Yeah, so you got to smoke it. It's Mimosa hacilis root. That's the DMT. You extract the methotrexate out of the Mimosa hacilis root, and you mix it with jasmine, sacred blue lotus flower, rose calendula, and there's one and I'm missing. And then you put it in a water bomb and you hit it one time. See, I did some stupid shit the first time, and the shaman called me. He was like, "You fucking stupid fucker." But I did it right the second time, and let me tell you something. I saw, you know how you look at the constellations and it makes like figures of people. You know, the star. I mean, you look at the constellations, the stars make like
Star mats.
Yeah, I saw like real marching people made of stars going up a winding stairway, and I was knocked out on the floor for like an hour.
I've had a similar experience with DMT in regard to seeing what appeared to be almost a tree of life ascending into the, like I had dimensional, a view of dimensional space that I could see into the levels moving. Yeah. Similar type.
Yeah. Dope show.
Hell yeah. Banger, dude.
Of course.
Super banger.
Yes. I got it.
Nice.
Glad I uploaded
This
those.
is 666 earlier. I was like, fuck, I was too slow on it.
Oh,
Destroy the child, corrupt them all.
Alex Jones for you.
That is total.
Yeah, I thought that was like the bad guy from Inspector Gadget for a second.
Could be.
Yo, Ani, why don't you let everybody know where they can find all your stuff again real quick before we wrap it up?
Yeah, you guys can check me out on YouTube at Ani Osaru. You also would find me on Instagram at The Spiritual Shade Room in the number 1. And come to Patreon. We get busy on Patreon. We're growing a great community there. Patreon.com/THE_spiritual shade room. You'll know you're there when you see the True Occult newspaper.
Awesome. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing all your stuff with us. That's what's up, man.
I appreciate y'all, man. This is every time I come here, I have a great time, man. You guys have lots of information.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And Jules, my man, what is going on, sir?
Man, this was a banger of an episode, guys. And I was gonna say, I don't know if I have anything that I'm doing this weekend. I may do my part 2 on the Green Man, or maybe if I have time, we'll do the Rustic Gods, me and Headless. But I am doing Esoteric Book Review in the morning. Me, Subliminal Messenger, and Season of the Rat, and Nick may be there.
Oh yeah, tomorrow morning I could be there.
Yeah, and I'll send. I'll send the invite out. But we got that every Saturday, guys. You go over to patreon.com/Graypill Podcast. We do exclusive watch parties over there. That we just did a huge, like, months-long analysis on Twin Peaks, all 3 seasons, plus Firewalk with me. Still talking about it, but it was a fun time. It was fun. Yeah, you get a sticker pack. You get the links to some group chats and the Discord. You get early release on episodes, Patreon only content. But go follow me on Twitter at GrayPillPod, Instagram GrayPill_podcast, Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. And go check out my episode from last weekend with Stein from the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. It was a super banger. And yeah. I went on Inquiries of Reality this past week.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be putting that out this weekend for everybody. So
He's a
shout
good
out
guy.
Shane.
Yeah,
He'll
he's
be
nice
coming
too.
on soon. Oh, and Doc is coming on
Oh,
Tuesday.
hell yeah.
Yeah. or maybe I'm going on his show. We booked a few shows together, so we'll be doing some back and forths. A lot of shows coming this next this next month, guys. A lot of shows. Cult of Conspiracy, The Veritas Road, Strange Brew, Doc, Dana Doodah just booked a show with me, so it's gonna be fun. Anyway, yeah, that's it. No more plugs. I could do more, but
all right, you go. All right, and Ethan. Oh, thank you very much, Joe. Sorry, you had me looking at my calendar to check what I was doing. So
so,
thank you, though, sir. And Ethan, go ahead, man. Let everybody know where they can find you.
That was awesome. Thank you guys so much, Ani. Great to talk with you and meet you. Ethan Indigo Smith on the social media, and I appreciate people reaching out with communication. So feel free. And I'm working on a couple articles, one about Tai Chi, one about neuro-linguistic programming of leaders, and trying to write frequently. So appreciate everyone checking me out.
Thank you very much, Ethan. I appreciate you coming on, man. And Robbie Marks, thank you very much, sir, for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. I always enjoy coming on. It's always such a great crew. It's good hanging out, meeting you, Ani. Jules, always good to see you. Ethan, Headless.
I gotta get you on. By the way.
Let me know. I'm just here for the winter. I'm just doing art now, so I'm at home. But if you want to check out my stuff, go to my Linktree, which is Linktree RMARX, and that'll pull up my website, my Etsy with all my art. Go check out my art. I do a lot of stuff for bands and festivals and miscellaneous mom and pops, and have the Meta Mindcast, which is my podcast, as well as all of my social media. And I just did a show with Shane as well on Inquiries of Our Reality on the rise of Nimrod. And then what else recently? Oh, I just did one with Craig from 33 Hertz Media on but anyways, go check out my stuff. It's out there, and always a fun time. Thanks for having me on, Nick.
Hell yeah, of course, man. No, thank you for coming on. And my man, Headless Giant, what is going on, sir? Please let everybody know where they can find your stuff and remind them about the shows. And you're muted.
Yeah, got lots of shows.
Lots of shows.
I forgot about our show, Headless. My bad, dude.
Right.
Rustic Gods.
Well, Rustic Gods, yeah, we're gonna do the Phallic Gods next, so that's gonna be really interesting.
Oh,
maybe this weekend if Headless is free, if we can get it set up.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. All right, so you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at the Headless Giant. And also, if you like alchemy, we're doing Alchemy Mondays. Definitely check that out. It's going to be a good time. I've got the trilogues on Sunday mornings with Ethan and Ricardo, and I've got the Headless's Magical Mailbag on Thursday nights. If you have any stories about any of these shadow people or anything associated with that, hit me up at headlessgiantpodcast@gmail.com, and I will read them. So we need more.
yes.
Get them in.
Definitely. If you check in next week, you'll get to hear me tell a drug dealing story of watching people snort too much Special K. So it'll be very interesting.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I can give you some stories, maybe.
Real quick, straight up. This is all I'll say. I watched a dude sniff half a bottle of ketamine at once.
Maybe not half a bottle.
Well, that motherfucker was stuck there for a minute. I was like, why did you do this to me? All right, that's enough. So,
good night, everyone.
Yeah. And real quick, just to let everybody know too, if there's anybody even listening anymore, just real quick for this weekend, I'm pretty sure I think I'm going live with all these people, but Sunday I do have tomorrow we got somebody on for Enigma Seeker for Atlantis.
Yeah,
at 8:00, and then
stoked.
Yeah, that should be really interesting because he has a totally different take. He says it's a different take than the two guests that I've had on for it. So I'm very open to it because I don't have the idea of Atlantis interests me. It's just
I'm very scattered on it.
It doesn't make it. I'll listen to anything with that really.
Yeah, I have some questions.
And then Sunday I got Peter Mark Adams interesting guy, pretty intelligent dude coming on from Mithras, and that was actually Headless. Found that fucking guest.
I'll be there for that too.
And then at 5 o'clock, I do have Solomon Pakal, but mine astrology, and he's going to be making some announcements too, like something that he's doing on his channel that he found. He thinks some tie to Epstein and that shit on his island to actually mine astrology shit. So something to do with that. Yeah, he was going to mention that on the show for a little bit, but yeah, I got him coming on Sunday. So yeah, I got a couple of guests this weekend. Keep it interesting. But yeah, thank you everybody who came on again. That was wild. That was fun. It was a lot of shit, and it was better than I expected it. So yeah, thank you all, and everybody in the chat. That's what's up. I can see everybody else's comments from all the other channels. That was some cool shit there, definitely, and I appreciate everybody again. That's on the other channels. I appreciate all you jumping on and commenting as well. And that's the end of another Occult Rejects. And until the next one, everybody be well. Later.